Yo, what's going on, guys? SCJ here, back with another video, and today I'm basically going to be making what's like my third video on this whole pandemic, because today I'm essentially going to be mixing two of my favorite forms of entertainment, gaming and sports, and we're going to be talking about NBA 2K21, when we're finally going to start getting teasers and or trailers, and if the game will possibly be delayed. So of course, if you're watching this video, then you know the entire world is currently living through what will definitely go down as one of the biggest pandemics in history. This has changed our entire world and will continue to change our entire world until the end of 2020 or until sometime in 2021. This being because until we get a vaccine for the COVID-19 virus, everyone's going to need to follow specific guidelines and mandates. The thing that's the most important though, and has been the most upsetting, is just how many people this virus has infected and how deadly it has been. For all of us who are doing our part in staying safe, staying home, and or social distancing when it's necessary to go to the store or to pick something up, we've been without a lot of entertainment that we've been expected to have already. This virus and pandemic has taken away or pushed back so many different things in our lives, and the things that the virus has affected that I've personally been upset about has been the loss of sports, the fact that I cannot go out to either a restaurant or a store, going to spend time with friends and or family, and the release of the next album from my favorite artist, Kendrick Lamar. For so many different reasons, all of these things in which I just named may not be able to be enjoyed this year. One of the other things that I've loved since I was a kid, and since I was 4 years old, is video games. I grew up a Nintendo kid obsessed with my Game Boy and my GameCube, and ever since then, I started either asking or saving up for each console from the big three in terms of gaming companies, Nintendo, Sony, and Microsoft. I don't have a specific genre of games that I play or love the most. However, as a die-hard sports fan, if I don't have anything to play, I can always fall back on one of the many sports sims. For whatever reason, even before I was a die-hard basketball fan, I always loved playing NBA Live and NBA 2K. I probably wasn't a die-hard basketball fan for the fact that the Nets sucked for most of my childhood, but that's besides the point. Ever since I became a die-hard basketball fan, I started to get excited for the beginning of June every year because of the start of the NBA Finals and the fact that the first teasers and info for NBA 2K were about to come out. This year, however, the start of June isn't going to be as special, as we definitely won't have at least the NBA Finals, but the question is, will we get any info pertaining to NBA 2K21? One of the biggest or most important reasons the game may be delayed is the fact they'll probably need to add more, or maybe a lot more, into the game. No, I'm not talking about just players, features, or jerseys, but if there's still no vaccine ready, which is expected to not be ready by the time the game launches, they're going to need to make the new arenas or venues where these teams are playing, or they're going to have to make the current arenas where these teams play empty. The games are of course supposed to be realistic sports sims, so if NBA teams aren't playing in their home arenas or are playing in their home arenas without fans, why would you be in the regular arenas with at least 16,000 people in them in a game of 2K? With game developers from every company working from home right now, we may see the guys over at Visual Concepts having to deal with the terrible yet sadly normal crunch culture that goes on and exists in the game development field, and deal with it right from their office or living room. Also, when it comes to the rookies who will be drafted in the 2020 NBA draft, whenever that may be, if all of the 2K development staff is still working from home even after the 2020 draft, will we even see face scans for the top picks or just any of the picks in the draft? Will we actually get to see face scans for guys like James Wiseman, Anthony Edwards, and LaMelo Ball? Or will this be the first time since 2K implemented doing face scans that the rookies don't look spot on and they just look very similar? I would assume that as long as they weren't forced to shut it down, and if they can still just get to the 2K studio or the location in which they have the face scan booth, there are probably ways, even while social distancing and such, that they can get the upcoming rookies such as those three into the booth. But with how strict these mandates are right now with this virus, we really don't know. Also, there's another huge change coming, and this one doesn't have anything to do with the pandemic, and that is the 9th generation of gaming, or the 9th generation of gaming consoles. With both the Xbox Series X and PlayStation 5 set to launch this year, granted it's pretty much a guarantee that there will be an insane amount of shortages on these consoles, that means that a game like NBA 2K will do the consoles justice graphically, similar to how 2K14 did for the current gen consoles. With that, you would think that the people over at Visual Concepts and 2K, as well as Microsoft and Sony, would like a huge title and a huge sports sim like the NBA 2K series to launch with the consoles, similar to how the next-gen version of 2K14 did on the Xbox One and PS4. Also, one other thing is in terms of NBA 2K20, it seems like they're releasing more content than they typically do for a 2K game at this point in its life cycle. They still continue to release big additions to my team, as well as many other things. They're releasing a ton of new Galaxy Opal cards, and they're constantly releasing new pack types, as well as challenges that you need to put over 100 plus hours in. Most people aren't going to want to put money and/or hours of grinding into a game that's going to be irrelevant in 4 months. So while I'm glad 2K is constantly updating the game and adding in new content, it seems to me like they're doing this to keep players and fans entertained during all of this, bring in more money off of VC and microtransactions, and kind of send a message that the game isn't going to be launching in its normal time frame. We also have many other questions to go along with all the things that I've touched on in this video, such as who will be the cover athlete. Like I said earlier in the video, usually the beginning of June is filled with new 2K information and we get to see who the cover athlete will be and what the cover looks like, but I'm going to almost guarantee that won't be the case this year. Also, only 4 years after he was the athlete on the Legend Edition cover for 2K16, will they put Kobe on the normal cover or the Legend cover once again? I personally would like to see it with the fact that Kobe passed away tragically and is my favorite athlete of all time, but if he doesn't make it onto one of the covers, I'll completely understand. While we'll never see it because a new yearly release means at least $60 to $100 from every player in 2K and Visual Concepts pockets because they upped the graphics a bit and changed some animations and features, and also because they added in a new My Career story and want you to upgrade your My Player. This situation is a great example though of why a free-to-play NBA game that's a one-time download with updates would be the best bet. Two of the biggest and most profitable games right now, Fortnite and Call of Duty Warzone, are both free-to-play games. Granted, they're both a part of the Battle Royale genre, but still, I think a big reason why they're so successful and have so many aggregate players is because they're both free-to-play. Imagine if you just hopped on NBA 2K, not 2K21 or 2K20, just NBA 2K with no year or season attached to it. We're seeing with Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2019 that they were or still are able to change and add things into the game. So while I highly doubt that it would ever happen for monetary reasons, and because you wouldn't be able to go back and play previous My Career storylines or previous things that they've wanted to remove, I can't see it happening, but it would definitely be intriguing. Lastly, the two things that I want to touch on are people saying 2K21 being delayed is a good thing and the possible release date. First, while I hope that if 2K21 does get delayed, they get to polish the game more and/or fix things in the game or finish it off, we don't know if they will or even be able to. With all these regulations and mandates we're all currently dealing with, if they haven't already recorded any of the new animations, they probably won't be able to. So any of those things probably won't be able to be updated in the game, or the current ones might not be able to be fixed. Also, we don't know how much of their normal work the development staff is able to do from their homes, so that's a huge question, and if they can't do what they normally do or work in the way that they usually do, it's a huge problem. Then, in terms of the release date, if it does get delayed, I only see two options or two time frames, and that's when the next-gen consoles drop in what we assume would be November, or around a month or a month and a half before the next NBA season does in fact begin, whenever that ends up being. So, if it is delayed, I only see those two time frames being when the game launches, and if it isn't delayed, then of course I would expect to see the normal September release, or maybe, while it wouldn't be like a delay or a full-on delay, maybe it'll come out at around a month later than normal in October. So if you had to ask me, I would say probably expect the sad yet inevitable future that the game will be delayed in some capacity. This year, they probably had to work a lot harder or more than normal to get everything ready and prepared for the next-gen systems, and that might just mean a game that's pretty much 2K20 with updated players, rosters, and such on the current-gen systems, and as for the next-gen consoles, expect a game that's very similar to 2K14 on the Xbox One and PS4, where it was a gargantuan step up graphically, but only had 4 modes, which were Quick Game or NBA Today, My Career, My GM, and My Team. I'm just hoping this pandemic doesn't mean that one of or both of the 2K21 games that we get, both current and next gen, are half-baked. Hopefully if 2K21 does get delayed, which I think it most likely will be, it only gets delayed because they want to wait to release it around a month or so before the next NBA season, and not because the game is pretty incomplete. Anyway, with that, that's going to be it for me today, and until we get any info on NBA 2K21, we'll just have to keep guessing or assuming what's going to happen to the game. I want to know what you guys think, though, down in the comment section below. And if you enjoyed the video, then hit the like button. And if you want to see more NBA and/or gaming content, hit the subscribe button. And I'm SCJ, and I am out. Peace.